Isis poisoned the highest god in Egypt, not out of anger, not out of revenge, but because she wanted something Ra would never give willingly, his true name. Isis is often remembered as a mother, a grieving widow, the devoted wife of Osiris, but this myth reveals a different goddess, one who understood where power was hidden, and took it, with knowledge, with language, with a deception even the sun god could not escape. And this was only the beginning, because Isis did not challenge just one god. Later, she stood before death itself and refused to accept it as final. Her story has two faces, a magician who cornered one of the most powerful gods in Egypt, and a force that did not mourn what was broken. It brought it back. One myth shows more clearly than any other how Isis was truly understood. Ra, the sun god, had grown old, not weak in the way humans become weak, but visibly marked by time, and one day, saliva fell from his lips onto the earth. To everyone else, it meant nothing. To Isis, it was an opening. When no one was watching, she collected the god's saliva. She mixed it with dust and shaped a serpent, not an ordinary creature, but something that had come from Ra himself. That was precisely why its venom could not be understood, even by the gods. Then she placed the serpent along his path and waited. When the sun god passed, the serpent struck. Ra froze. Pain moved through him like fire. The god who flooded the world with light each morning began to tremble and lost control of his own body. The gods gathered around him. They spoke spells, called sacred names, searched for a cure, but nothing worked. No one understood the poison, no one except Isis. She stepped forward, calm, as if she had seen this moment long before it arrived, and she said, "Tell me your true name, and I will heal you." In Egypt, a true name was not spoken lightly. It was not decoration, it was access. A true name opened the innermost core of a being, its identity, its power, to the place where even a god could be reached. Ra understood immediately what Isis was demanding, and he tried to evade her. He offered titles, domains of rule, magnificent names, creator of the heavens, maker of the earth, bringer of the day. But Isis was not deceived. She did not want his roles. She wanted his secret. The pain intensified, and Ra realized that all his power meant nothing in this moment, not while Isis possessed the one thing he could not control. At last, he gave in. He withdrew from the other gods, and there, beyond their hearing, he revealed his true name. Not to all, only to her. Only then did Isis heal him. Ra regained his strength, but something had shifted. Isis emerged from that encounter greater than before, not tolerated, initiated. She had not defeated one of Egypt's highest gods by being stronger. She defeated him because she saw his weakness before anyone else did. Isis never attacks head-on. She finds the fracture in what appears untouchable and acts. That shatters every simplistic image of the gentle mother goddess. Isis was nurturing, yes, but she was also strategy. She was language used as a weapon, knowledge turned into access, magic not as mist and illusion, but as precise and deliberate power. And if even the highest sun god could not resist her, what happened when Isis faced not a god, but total destruction? The second great myth does not begin with deception. It begins with a rupture. Osiris, king and brother husband of Isis, is betrayed by Set, not in open combat, but through calculated trickery. The goal was not merely to kill him, it was to remove him from the order of the world. Osiris dies, but Set does not stop there. He cuts the body apart and scatters the pieces across the land. This is more than murder, it is erasure. A torn body threatens more than life. It threatens memory, dignity, continuity. At this point, Isis could have become a figure of pure grief, a woman who laments because nothing can be saved. But that is not what happens. She searches, she moves across the land, following traces that are barely traces at all. and she gathers what Set intended to make impossible to find, not out of grief alone, but because she refuses to let destruction speak the final word. She finds the body, she restores its order, she preserves what was meant to disappear. Where others see only an ending, Isis begins the work of restoration, with mourning as ritual, with words meant to act, with gestures against decay. Isis does not merely mourn destruction, she intervenes. She holds together what has been broken. She protects what is meant to live on. She turns loss into a future. From her union with the restored Osiris comes Horus, proof that Set did not erase order, he only interrupted it. Here, Isis appears in a second form, not only as the magician who forced a god to surrender his deepest secret, but as the power that refuses to accept destruction as a final state. In the first myth, Isis recognizes the weakness of a god. In the second, she recognizes possibility within what appears to be an ending. In both cases, she refuses to accept what seems unchangeable. Not Ra's invulnerability, not the finality of death. That is why her name stayed close to the dead, not because she was gentle, but because she acted at the most dangerous thresholds, between life and death, loss and continuity, collapse and survival. Isis unites strength, motherhood, and magic. But the crucial fact is this: she remains active. She does not wait. She intervenes. That is where her power begins, not in force, in access. Isis appears where other forces fail, when a god can no longer protect his own secret, when a king lies in pieces, when order itself is under threat. She steps forward, calm, precise, relentless. Isis was never only the wife of Osiris, never only the mother of Horus. She was the goddess of words that work, of hidden names, of patient deception, of restoration after destruction. She forced the highest sun god to reveal a secret he would rather have kept forever. And she found Osiris not to break beside him, but to contradict decay itself. From what Set tried to destroy, a future emerged. Isis does not remain distant. Her shape is still recognizable. In every kind of power people fail to notice, not loud, not impulsive, but knowing, persistent, inescapable. Isis did not inherit her power. She recognized where it lay and took it. If stories like this draw you in, stay here, because the myths that survived are often cleaner than the things buried inside them.
Subscribe to Forgotten Paths. Some places are still waiting to be remembered.